Guys, I just want to say welcome to our little Facebook Live and really excited. I want to share it. You are welcome to share this or because I want to share it into growing gratitude. And I want to share this into the Hearts Unleashed grad community. So some of you guys, a lot of you do not know that I have the Hearts Unleashed book club graduate community, which means there's I think there's like 70 or 80 people at this point in our Hearts Unleashed book club grad community because that many people have gone through the Hearts Unleashed book club. And today we are here to talk to Katherine Plucinsky, brand new author and brand new host of a Hearts Unleashed book club. However, many of you guys have met some of our Hearts Unleashed book club certified coaches, and they're often starting by sharing my book, Giving Up, the Memoir of a Quitter. But Katherine is starting her book club around her debut book. Katherine, I'd love to have you introduce the book, share the book. Let's dive face first into there. I'm going to introduce you in a minute, but let's talk about your book right away.
Okay, I have it right here. I have it in hardcover and softcover, but it is called High Tides and Open Hands, A Guide to Grief and Living Broken Open. It is a memoir, poetry, pretty much me diving into my experience of grief. And the title kind of comes from, high tides, the most raw and difficult moments of your life, and open hands, meaning how I learned to open my hands and surrender to God, to the things that I realized I couldn't control. It's my personal story about my best friend who passed away in a car accident when I was 21, and just all the stages of grief that I went through. I documented through the whole process and then kind of compiled it all together. And just like the ways that I could see what hurt me, what healed me. And yeah, and the back part of the book is more poetry, on spirituality, resiliency, healing. So it covers lots of things.
Yes. Okay, good. Thank you. Well, thank you, one, for sharing the book. I want people to know right off the bat, this is a new opportunity within the Hearts Unleashed community to listen to a new book, to read new content, really new topics, specifically grief and healing and spirituality, and to get to meet you. And so I'd love to have you introduce yourself, but I have had the pleasure of knowing Katherine for a year or so. And we also have a podcast on the Hearts Unleashed podcast. We have an interview together, and something that I shared in there was her writing. Her writing literally gives me goosebumps every time I read it. And I love that about this content and the concept, because it's so heartfelt. It has such depth to it, and it feels very inspired. Like you have, I would almost even call it like inquiry-based writing. Like there's an exploration of, like, there's a genuine curiosity in your writing, and I connect to it very much. And so I'm like fangirling right now. I don't know what's going on actually, but take over from here. I'm actually going to hand it to you. Tell us more about you.
Yeah, so my name is Katherine Plucinsky. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I've always just loved writing, and I've always wanted to write a book. But I ended up kind of unintentionally writing this book. I started in July during the pandemic, and yeah, it really just poured out of me. I have always been very deep into my faith and spirituality, and have done mission work in the past. And I think my biggest purpose in life feels like bringing other people to know God, whatever that looks like for them, and for them to explore their own personal faith and to walk with them in their own spirituality. But yeah, as far as the book, it's been an amazing process, and Abigail has walked with me through a lot of it. And I think the whole process of creating is it's not like, okay, I wrote the book, now I'm done, like, with grief, or I'm done with this process. I've realized actually after publishing it, so much has come up. And even my conversations with Abigail, I've definitely had some like fear around starting a book club with this book because it feels so raw to my heart. And even like this year, Courtney's birthday was earlier this month, my best friend who passed away. And this was after months after I published this book. And, the day just like completely wiped me out. And it just showed me like healing is just a continual process always. And I think my tendency to want to shy away from that is like, it's exactly what I'm talking about, is like not to do that. And so
Mm,
I'm really excited to just like lean into this. And I think I had fear around, being the host and wanting to be really, um, I want to be there for people, but fearing how it will like affect me going back and diving deeper into it with other people, um, because it is like so close to my heart. But that's exactly the point, is I want to create a space for people to show up however they are, wherever they're at. And I know with grief it looks different each day, each moment. And so just welcoming that, of knowing like, some days you're going to show up and be really in it, some days you're going to feel numb, like wherever you are, even if like you specifically aren't grieving but you love someone who's grieving, even if you're grieving maybe not the death of a person but the death of, um, change or a past self or whatever it is. Like grief affects us in so many ways, and I want this to be open to anyone who's interested, in reading this book and coming together and walking with each other in it.
yeah, I love that. And I had multiple times just had goosebumps listening to you share about that. And I know we've already sort of like, I would say privately launched your book club and within the community, and like Coach Victoria and Coach Amber, like Amber's like, oh my God, yes, right. She's very into supporting the grief process. And so I know within the community, we have a lot of interest and there's a lot of excitement, but I'm really grateful to be launching this publicly. This is on Facebook, and then it'll be up on YouTube, and for more and more people to have a space to come to, like a really intimate and safe space. Like you said, come as you are, to grieve as you are, or to go through your own grief process with other people who are committed to the process. Because like you said, there's the option to hide out, run, avoid, suppress, compartmentalize, like however we don't do grief on purpose, or even maybe subconsciously, but to lean in and raise your hand and open your heart and live broken open. Like that's raw, that's vulnerable, that's kind of scary, that's uncomfortable. And you're like, I'm already just excited for people to be meeting you in this capacity to say like, I get her, or it sounds like she gets me, and I'd like to be in this club. And so, or in this program. So to those like, what would you love to say to somebody who is listening and might be considering, or, yeah, still scared to potentially step into that?
I'm still scared. Like there's, and that's okay. It's not about not being scared, but it's about doing it anyways. And I think the deeper I go into it, whether it's grief or any type of self work, inner work, it's like, if you're not going to do it now, when? And
Mm,
I've just grown to like, I think I love myself more and more as the years go by. And I'm getting to this place where it's like, I don't wish I was in any circumstance before, like in the past or in the future, because I just love where I'm at right now, in my own like self-discovery and spirituality. And I think as the healing process grows, it's like you just are seeing deeper parts of yourself and falling in love with those parts. And it's such a gift to yourself to do the work, as hard as it is.
yeah, I would, it's inspiring to hear you say that, because I would imagine someone who might be in the pits of grief, which, to not feel happy with where they're at, or not grateful or excited, or still wishing things had gone differently. And not to say that if it could, maybe it could, like maybe that'd be great. And that you can find peace, joy, contentment, gratitude for where you are, and be where you are. I mean, that's such a sign of the work, and that work's available. So I wonder, like, do you have in your mind or heart like any specific intentions for people coming into this program? Like, what would you love to, as a coach, what do you hope to offer? And yeah.
Yeah, I talk about this a lot on the podcast that we did together. But really just creating space for people, and no pressure, judgment, expectation around grief, because I felt really rushed in the process, or like I had to be at a certain place that I wasn't, or people didn't know how to sit with me in it. And so yeah, I think I really just want to make sure that other people grieving don't have a similar experience. Um, I want to be one of those people. I want the rest of the people in the book club to be there for each other, to just like wherever you're at is okay. And um, I think another intention would be, I have like so many. But it's really healing for me to comfort someone going through grief, and being able to like do the things that I wish people had to like done for me,
Yeah.
And yeah, I think about maybe the first weeks after it happened, after I heard the news, or just thinking back to the different phases of grief, and um, being able to just like be present and create a space for all of those. And grief is so changing that like, yeah, just creating the space for the changes of it, the slowness of it, like all of it, just you can come
Yes. Yes.
and be
You
held
know,
for it.
what was that?
I said, and be held for it.
Yeah. Yes. I share this a lot, whether it's the podcast or, any of the content really is, I'm going through the process too, right? Like we all are, by way of being human. We never really arrive anywhere. And I think a lot of us trick ourselves that there's some illusion of made it, or all healed now, or enlightened forevermore. And I just appreciate what you're saying, because it's how I lead, and it's how I like to live, is like heart unleashed, right? Like I can't do that for others if I'm not doing that for myself. And sometimes that looks like showing up messy, greasy, in a bedroom because I'm on the road. Like it's not some, or emotionally messy too, right? Like still sorting something out. And so I just really appreciate what you're sharing about what you said, like no judgment, no expectation, no pace for this. Like I don't put a pace to transformation. We can't put a pace to grief. And we can facilitate the process. Of course, I think that's where the professional aspect comes in, of what support is for, what a group is for, what a coach is for, what a counselor is for. Spiritual direction is that we can navigate it together, but that doesn't mean it has to go any type of way. And I just really hear that in what you're saying, as far as you living your heart unleashed, and others exploring unleashing their heart, and not, we're always mostly protecting it. And so I can just feel that difference, and I appreciate what you're sharing. And so, I want to share that so people will see this whenever they see this, but your very first book club is coming up on September 7th, 2021. And it is Mountain Time, because where are you calling in from?
Colorado.
Woo! So she is on Mountain. So I'm going to do some translations, because September 7th at 6 p.m. Mountain, that's 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So wherever you are in the country, that's what's really cool about the Hearts Unleashed book clubs. Katherine has expressed interest in doing book clubs in person too, right? Like eventually you'd love to get to that point. And so this one will be virtual. So if you are anywhere in the world that you would love to come into this Hearts Unleashed book club with Katherine to process grief and like development, right? Like spirituality, and there's other aspects to all of this. And so if this is something that interests you, it is coming up here in 2 very short weeks. And so you can head to abigailgazda.com to sign up. It is on the shop tab. And also you have a website where they can buy your book. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, my website is katherineplucinsky.com. Plucinsky is a tough one to spell.
Well, and luckily we are Zoom, so they can see your name right there. And then, excuse my foot. Also, yep, right wherever it is. And then also, we're on Facebook. So I will be sure to have all of like the links set up, but, just add Katherine as a friend or, meet us on, again, abigailgazda.com. You can sign up on the shop tab. You'll just see her name and the cover of her book, and you'll just click register. And, be sure to do so. Or if you know somebody, like maybe this isn't the book club for you, but I'm gonna take a wild guess that somebody going through some grief. And again, like Katherine expressed, whether that's death or job loss or the loss of a relationship or the loss of a past self, an old identity, some shedding, some releasing, we are grieving lots of ways, lots of days. And it's a really healthy thing to explore that process. And so you might know somebody, or it might be for you, but be sure to head over and register. If you have any questions, you can obviously reach out to us. If you're watching this on YouTube at a later date, you can always head to abigailgazda.com or heartsunleashed.com to check out what's new as far as what programs are being offered. And you can head to KatherinePlucinsky.com to grab her book. And I'm sure that as time develops, maybe she'll be offering her own programs or coaching. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, this whole thing has been just one thing leading to the other, and it's been so natural and God led. And so who knows?
Yep. And as far as I can tell, there might be more books coming.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Is there anything you'd love to say to those who are tuned in right now?
Please join. Yeah, I welcome. I will welcome you with open arms, and I'm excited to dive into this together and be there, create space, and join.
By the way, I see that little bestseller emblem on that hardcover there. Want to show that off one more time? Because she's a best-selling author. Oh, it's so good. Congratulations. Already the tremendous success of your book and the continued success. So I want to thank you. I want to acknowledge you for opening your heart to the work and also to Hearts Unleashed community, because of course you could be doing this any type of way. And we are so happy to represent you and have you represent us and join forces in supporting people unleashing their hearts all the time.
I'm so excited.
Me too. Thank you. Love you and love you guys. Thank you for staying with us. If you're here watching right now, head over, register, share, like, comment, do all the silly things that we have to do in these days and age. But you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for opening your heart to what we get to offer and to the work, the healing and the possibility of living your heart unleashed. Thanks, guys. Love you all. Bye.